Welcome to you all. My name is Misha, and I'm here with my colleague and friend, George Michaelopoulos. And this is Hegemonix, where we speak about all things geopolitical and various and sundry other things. Um, and today we're going to start off with Hungary, which is a little bit different than what everybody thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
Just for people who don't know, Hungary, the um, country in kind of Central Eastern Europe, um, was run by Viktor Orban for 16 years, and he's I guess a rightist. They would call him far right, but he's a rightist definitely.
Yeah, that's
Uh, yeah, I mean that's a fair statement. But he went ahead and accepted the democratic results. The results of a democratic election. Now, I think it was skewed. I don't think that necessarily the election results reflected what people actually voted necessarily, um, or at least the actual proportions. I don't know that they were exactly. I think there's a lot of cheating that went on, pro EU cheating that went
yeah.
on. But he was very gracious, and I know why now.
Tell me why?
But
What's your opinion?
well, I think see this guy that actually won, Peter Magyar, used to be in Fidesz.
Mhm.
He now is in another party and ran against him. But as far as I mean, he's anti-corruption. But as far as the actual policies of how he wants to deal with immigration and Ukraine and other things, he's not really any different than Viktor Orban.
Mhm.
And he's told him straight up, the first thing he did when he came in is like, I'm not an easy vote on any of this stuff, and we're not going to change policy on immigration. In fact, I'm going to
Right.
crack down more on the ones that are
Mhm.
non-EU visas that have come in. We're getting rid of those by the end of spring.
Good.
So he's it struck me as a bait and switch
Mhm.
that what happened was probably that Orban told him, act like a European darling, say what you need to say, and get in there because I want to challenge Ursula von der Leyen for the
I've
EU
heard that.
presidency.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's come out in the last day or so supporting Orban for the EU presidency.
Mhm.
So I mean that's what I think happened, that they just decided he's been in there 16 years. I mean, how long
Yeah, right.
can you do it? Find somebody else to take over, and then you can spend the next 3 years running for, or 2.5 years or whatever,
Mhm.
running for the EU. It's going to take you that long in order to get the. There's a lot of skullduggery involved, in that, and to get your ducks in a row, it's going to take quite a while to do that. And I guess that's plan that seems to be unfolding in Hungary. So I don't, initially people were, considering that a loss. If you're on the right, I don't necessarily think it's a loss. That may be
No.
a hold'em.
I've heard
And,
he's more right wing, and he's more I've heard he's more EU friendly and n Israel skeptic, because Orban was very pro-Israel. And at
hmm,
least as an evangelical Christian, which is what I heard, he had no problem with Israel, and he never sanctioned them or anything like that. So he was kind of pro-Israel, whereas Peter Magyar, I've heard, is not. He's not pro-Israel. I do want to say something. It just struck me.
yeah,
His name,
they,
Peter
I don't know if it's
Magyar.
Catholic or yeah,
Magyar are is the Hungarian language.
yeah,
That's what the Hungarians are.
it
They're
means
called
Hungarian.
Magyars. And it'd be like calling, the President Donald
Yeah,
America, or King Charles England. It just
Amerigo. Yeah, yeah.
something there that's just off-putting,
Yeah.
not in a bad way, but it's just like, really? Magyar? Whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. I found that interesting as well. He's apparently a character, and that's why I think that he arranged all this stuff with Viktor Orban. I looked into he had a divorce with his wife, and there were some antics that uh, swirled around that where
Are you talking about
um,
Orban or Magyar?
Magyar,
Okay, I didn't know that.
uh, yeah, where he there's a custody back and forth that
Yeah.
happened, and the police were called at certain times,
Mm,
and he ended up taking off in the car in his pajamas,
mm.
at some point, and he he basically, to a certain extent, outfoxed her by using the media, where the law might have been a little bit more sympathetic to her as the female, you know, as the wife. Um, so I don't know. Um, but he you got a little bit of cunning there in Viktor Orban. He has that, just a streak of mischief in him, and
Mhm.
I think Magyar's got that same kind of um,
Well, they are
attitude towards.
Hungarian. They're a different breed of cat. So, uh,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. It's like God just set down this totally different group of people that aren't related to anybody anywhere.
yeah. I mean, they're like the Basques in,
Yeah, Basques.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah. That's the
mean,
other group
yeah.
that's like that. And so anyway, so hopefully that is not going to cause too much of a stir in Hungary. The people there don't think that it's going to be a problem with the immigration. They think he's going to hold the line on the immigration,
I hope so.
and they don't
I
think he's going to be forking over a lot of money to the EU to give to Ukraine, or um, letting the EU use Hungary like they've used the Ukrainians against Russia. So we'll have to see. That's a wait and see thing. Um, Next, we have the continuing saga of Iran
we
and
do.
Israel and the United States and the Golden Dawn. And I'm really not sure what's there's a 2 week. We're in the middle of a 2 week pause,
Mhm.
or lull, I guess is the best way to describe it if you're trying to be accurate. Ceasefires in this part of the world, they don't actually really stop shooting.
Yeah.
They kind of uh, they just kind of tone it down and take a lot of breaks and that kind of thing. But it's you know, get their vacation time in, uh, whatever. Um, but that we're still, in that little period, and there's a back and forth that's been going on. I'm curious as to how you look at this. The Strait of
I
Hormuz,
continue to s I continue to smoke hopium, you know? Um,
it continues to smoke opium.
Trump
Yeah.
Trump is smart enough to not want to destroy his base, okay? Now, I realize he's on a tirade against Alex Jones and Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, even Megyn Kelly, um, and
Right.
but, I think a lot of this is performative. I mean, if we get boots on the ground, then his presidency is over and MAGA is destroyed, or MAGA will resurrect around somebody else, okay? But I just have to think that Trump is more than pissed off with Netanyahu. Um, and from what I understand, the Iranians are still raining down missiles on Tel Aviv and Haifa. So
Mm, mhm.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Uh,
Oh, so
they,
he also said that you cannot. He told the Israelis you cannot bomb Lebanon anymore. So I
yeah,
don't
I
know
saw that.
what's gone on there if that has stopped. So it
I
seems
think
like
they did. I think they backed away from it, at least for now. Yeah. The
I
thing
I I
in
I I
Lebanon,
do think we are seeing a realignment. I mean, the American people are detaching themselves, and the Kufi crowd, the Christian Zionists, they're still brainwashed for the most part, but even some of them are waking up.
yeah,
So, I mean,
well, I hope
the
so.
Democrat Party is totally anti-Israel now, and as far as the Republican Party, the under 40s are anti-Israel, or at least Israel skeptic. Okay, and whereas the boomers were aging out, and
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, that's I wonder, what evidence you have to have. I don't think anybody's really a certain slice of the pie. I don't think they're even looking at evidence. They think it's so self-evident because of the Holocaust that the
mhm.
Jews have to be protected at all costs that, there's that just reflexive thing.
Well,
But
it,
they yeah, but everybody else is getting off that train.
well,
There's no way to
the
if the rest of the world sees the slaughter,
yeah,
then
exactly. I mean, I mean, it's like this. I mean, Israel, the official story is the Jews need a safe place. Okay.
mm,
Well, right now, um, so that Jews in the diaspora can feel safe as well. Well, thanks to Gaza, Israel is not a safe place for Jews, and because of their actions, which are horrendous, Jews in other parts of the world are, you know, being molested, or or being treated like pariahs. And so it didn't work out. However, that was never the real reason for Israel's existence. But and I don't want to get into Meyer Lansky and and um, the gangsters, the revisionist Zionists, and like the air gun and the Haganah and the Stern
yeah,
gang. But you know, Israel and the ADL, they need anti-Semitism, just
mhm,
like Jesse Jackson, the late Jesse Jackson, and Al Sharpton, and the liberals in America. They need racism, even when we're probably the least racist country on earth. They still, they need it to justify their reason for being. And Israel needs anti-Semitism to to remain in power. So there is that.
yeah. I mean, I tend to look at Israel as being culmination of, you know, some bankers and people that have deep pockets and a lot of gang activity,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
you know, real gangster, international
Uh-huh.
organized crime activity.
Mhm.
And then that dovetailed with, eventually anyway, with what the United States needed in the region as, our aircraft carrier in the region. And it all came to a head as, everybody got healed with that state. Um, and now it's gotten to the point though that they're this thing is completely crazy. This thing that they're doing right now. It does not actually um they've been dragging the United States into these wars for
Yeah,
decades.
yeah.
But and none of them really were that rational to begin with.
Mhm.
The thing that oh, Wesley Clark said when he went into the Pentagon and
Mhm. Mhm.
he was going back, along the corridors and they're going to do 7 wars in 5 years and they had all
Mhm.
the plans drawn
Yeah,
up and stuff after 11.
yeah.
Um, all of that, it never was that rational. It was all, basically, military incorporated,
Uh,
essentially. That this is our business, and we find got the perfect excuse to go in and do this now,
yeah,
and we got all our politics lined up. We can paint everybody over there as evil, and we're going to go in and yada yada.
right, right.
Um, but this particular one, um, it's not even rational. It's certainly not rational by American standards. There's no reason for us to go into
Yeah,
Iran. In fact, the JCPOA was arguably, a good idea and should still be in effect. If Trump hadn't um, withdrawn
I
it
I I
us
I'm
from
gonna
it.
put on
But
my
there,
tinfoil hat here and say something.
uh, yeah,
Trump has been talking about Iran for a long time, even 20 years ago, and about being against Iran, whereas Obama was for Iran. I mean, he gave him like $55 billion of frozen assets back and stuff like that. I think that there is some bad blood between Trump and Obama, and
yeah,
there may be something been underlying this war. Um, Trump's vendetta against Iran, which
yeah, it's possible.
is because of Obama, and there may be, so like I said, money, resources, something underlying, and for instance, like right now, the empty tankers are showing up in the Gulf of America and loading up with American oil. You know,
Yeah, yeah, it's
um,
true.
the we're not being
Well,
hurt.
everybody's making bank off of it.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, um,
exactly.
no question about
And
that.
and I think what Trump is trying to do is to disentangle Iran from Obama and his crew, the people who are behind Obama. It just otherwise, I mean, why are we there? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, the only thing I've been able to figure out about it, but besides there's a theory about trying to come in between Iran and China,
Yeah.
but it's too thin to satisfy me. I mean,
Mhm,
I can see it, and I can see it being a thorn in the side, but not enough to actually justify boots on the ground over there.
mhm.
Um,
No, no,
the
not
only
at
thing
all.
that I can see, yeah, the only thing I can see as what has actually pushed it is Benjamin Netanyahu has this, Ahab complex about Iran and has pushed this thing, and that's it. That's the main thing.
That may be it.
His entourage there is has pushed it and has pushed President Trump into the. And there are a lot of chatterbox echoes over here. Um, APAC and the whole Israel lobby and the
Mm,
neocons who actually some of the neocons were kind of like, I don't know, do we really want to do this? I mean, even before, we actually got into it, some of them were like, sounds like a good idea, but there might be some blowback here.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and as soon as it started to go south, they were like, oh, no, this is a bad idea. And that's, it's just the thing that really strikes me about it is it's so stupid. It is so incredibly you've got a government now that's underground, underneath some mountain someplace, that you're not gonna get to anymore, and the people who are running the thing are the IRGC, and all they got a standing order, just, kill Israel. Just keep just keep sending, ordnance over to Israel, um and they got this and they're probably happy, they're not that happy that Lebanon is being pummeled by the Israelis, but they're glad that they don't have to stop attacking the Israelis, I'm sure.
yeah.
um, and so this whole thing, It's very strange. I mean, it's like there are sets of plans that aren't being disclosed that are must be very odd and are only being followed loosely. That's the only way I can explain the result that I'm seeing. Because the result that I'm seeing can't be actually anybody's intention. There's no way, um, except if you're like and I'll bounce this off you to see.
Mhm.
Do you think anybody is actually that much of a uh, doomer that they would try to sink the world economy by purposefully doing this, um,
Yeah,
orchestrating?
I do, because
Yeah, you do.
yeah, 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 I do. Regrettably, um, and I could give you a name, um, but, it begins with Roth and ends with child.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I was gonna say it begins with an S, ends with an S. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's another.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not gonna say anything more because my mind is still bewildered. Personally, I think, what Trump's MO is to every day just do something to just upset the status quo. He turns over tables every other week. That's the only way that he can keep that part of the deep state, which is still against him, or the establishment, on their toes. Otherwise, they're going to, do what they did to him in the first administration. And so
yeah,
he says, "What have I got to lose? I'm going to do tariffs." It was a year ago that he did tariffs. And those tariffs are still in place. You know, so even though the Supreme Court ruled against them, you know, every country that he did tariffs with says no. mm, we're even. We'll keep things where they are. I mean, just the other day, he issued an executive order which is allowing psychedelics to be examined, researched, and possibly used for pharmacotherapy, especially for people who have PTSD and um, suicidal ideation and stuff like this. This is wow. I mean, we're not talking about LSD, but we're talking about ibogaine, and, Marcus Luttrell was there at the signing. He was a SEAL and, he suffered from PTSD and stuff like that. And he heard about Ibogaine and from Mexico and he started it and he goes, "Hey, it's working." So, I mean, and he's doing things, well, like, and the cultural things, like the Gulf of America, he's talking about Alberta, taking it over from Canada, he's more or less uh, uh, he took back the Panama Canal right out of the bat,
hmm
confiscated, well, or what's the word that did he take over Greenland, or basically did he get what he wanted out of Greenland, whether it's de jure or de facto?
I think probably de facto he's got
Yeah,
what he wants out
yeah,
of them. He met with Denmark recently, and
yeah,
he wolfed so loud that I think that they're basically what we'd like to keep sovereignty, but you just write your ticket. It's,
yeah, right,
I think that's where it's at right now.
yeah,
Um,
and 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 he took over Venezuela's oil, and
yeah,
that country has not gone to pot. Uh,
yeah.
Cuba's ready to just crumble at any moment. Uh,
There's something that's happened in Cuba. I saw something on the Duran about they decided they are interested in partnering up with Russia. Russians just sent a big tanker full of diesel over there, and it's hard to see. It's hard to say what's going to happen. I'm not sure that that's necessarily going to be a huge confrontation, though. I don't think. Trump is inclined to get confrontational with Russia. I think he's deal-minded as far
Oh,
as
yeah,
Russia's concerned,
yeah,
to the extent that he possibly can be. And if, there's probably, enough of a piece of a pie there for everybody.
sure.
Um, but that I just heard that, before we went on. Uh, I hope he gets it back together in the sense that right now, I think, his hardcore loyal followers are with him, but, you're talking like 20% of the electorate, 25% of the electorate. There are a lot of people who've kinda gotten really weary, myself included about I mean, I haven't abandoned him, but, I never was hitched to him to begin with. I never considered myself MAGA. I thought it was useful, uh, and kinda hopefully pushing in the right direction, but and I guess that it shouldn't bother me that much, the lying about warfare,
Mhm,
because, uh, if you're lying constantly about domestic stuff, that's one thing, and, if it's not any more than, puffing, "This is the greatest thing that's ever done," the
mhm,
the kinda
yeah,
stuff that he normally says, and nobody's ever seen anything like it and da 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 da. Who cares about that stuff? Um, if you're constantly lying about domestic stuff, that would be a problem. When it comes to war, that's what war is, really, is lying.
yeah,
It's, it seems like it's a bad thing to say, you know, "We got our men in and out. It was a textbook operation, and people will be writing, um, problems in War College about this, for years to come," when actually what happened was we got our butts chased out, and there may be
mhm,
people left behind that are prisoners of war
yeah,
from the desert operation that they did.
yeah,
At the same time, you just don't say, everything that happens during war. It's bad for morale. We can see through it through alternative media, but, it does get on your nerves, when you hear one thing coming out of the president and his people, um, and then reality is demonstrably completely different. It
yeah.
does give you cause for pause. That's
Oh,
the
yeah,
way I
yeah,
kinda look
totally.
at it.
Since we're on the subject of Iran and Hungary, last week, JD Vance was in, Hungary, in Budapest. He gave a speech there, and he talked
Mm,
about how we should be proud of Western civilization and our values and stuff like that, and this comes from Christian values. I heard no pushback from the usual gang of idiots,
good,
the left.
yeah,
I heard none. And notice what he didn't say. He didn't say Judeo-Christian values. That horse has
okay,
run, you know, and we're no
that's good,
longer there.
yeah,
I mean, I have no problem with Christianity being the fulfillment of Judaism, Second Temple Judaism. That I believe, okay? And so it did come out of a Jewish matrix or a Judaic matrix. But what is Judaism now and what was Judaism then are two different things. And what is Judaism now cannot be reconciled with Christianity. You can't if by the word Judeo you mean rabbinic, what's going on now, you cannot conflate it with Christian. You just can't. But
yeah, I
just
agree.
just just read the New Testament, Matthew and the Pauline letters and the Book of Revelation and all that. So
Yeah, I
anyway,
mean, the church, in my
things like
humble
this
opinion,
give me
always
hope.
been proud of procession. Yeah, yeah. Well, JD, um, at some point, he converted to Catholicism, uh,
He did. He did.
and his wife, I think, is Hindu.
His wife
There
is
are,
Hindu, but
pluses and
supposedly,
minuses to
you
all
know
that, but it makes him much more conscious of Do I know? I didn't hear you.
Supposedly, they're talking about
Uh,
her converting.
well, they are, okay. Because I was gonna say, if you have people that have different faith, it makes each of them much more conscious of their own faith. Because you're
Uh-huh.
bouncing off somebody else who's right there all the
Yeah.
time. Um, and though Catholics, it we'll put it this way, it's not the same thing as being in one of these, Hagee type Protestant churches.
Yeah.
They do have the Nostra Aetate, thing where they kinda, I wouldn't say did a 180, but they fudged and fudged and fudged and fudged, about the status of the Jews. Um, but still, I mean, there's so much there historically that, um, you just I don't think that you normally have the same thing within Catholicism as you could have with the Schofield, and the Darby and the whole thing with
Yeah.
Christian
The the
Zionism.
uh, the you know, I'm I'm of two minds in this. I know that there's a Catholic magisterium, and I know about the papacy in pre-Vatican I, and how these guys are pretty hardcore. Okay, and I know now they're not. And I w- I watch a lot of trad cats on YouTube, and they still believe in the shoes of the fisherman type of Catholicism, that it still exists somewhere. In reality, it exists nowhere. However,
Yeah.
how uh, and so their last remaining card, and this is something that the liberals in the Catholic Church also are doing, is weaponized ambiguity when it comes to homosexuality, especially,
Mhm.
or the death penalty, or anything that they used to not be um, sympathetic to. Liberalism, in other words, modernism.
Mhm.
Now it's like it's just they carefully tailor their arguments so that they'll tell the little old lady in the pew, "Oh, the church hasn't changed its stance on homosexuality. We
Yeah.
we haven't given blessings to gay couples." And
Mm.
she says, "Well, I just saw Jim and Bob go up and receive a blessing, and I know they're gay and they're a couple." And he says, "Oh, no, 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 you don't understand. The priest gave a blessing to Jim and he gave a blessing to
Yeah.
Bob. He didn't give a blessing to Jim and Bob." I mean, it's
Right, yeah.
it's Jesuitical. And of course, Francis was a Jesuit. So anyway,
Yeah.
enough of that, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of slippery stuff that goes
Yeah.
on, um, and we have some of that too in our church.
Well, in certain jurisdictions, yes, but
Yeah.
it's we don't have the wherewithal or the economic throw weight to actually make a difference. I mean, the Orthodox Church is growing by leaps and bounds, and that's in spite of Bartholomew. Nobody cares. I mean, he's a has been, and he he doesn't have the oomph that the papacy has. Truth be told, no synod of bishops of the United States, whether it's OCA, ROCOR, Antioch, has that kind of throw weight either, which is fine
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're not doing anything stupid. Um,
Yeah.
or saying anything except for Elpidophoros, who continues to shoot himself in the foot every other week. He invited Mayor Mamdani to the St. Nicholas shrine
Mhm, mhm.
on Good Friday, and Imam gave a sermon. He actually lit a candle and he prayed. The guy's a Muslim and he's a commie. Okay, I mean he is the final nail in the coffin of New York City.
Yeah,
So
he's working hard at it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So
they'll stop him
if
from doing some things, but yeah,
you know
he's gonna try hard.
if the archons and the lay leaders of the Greek archdiocese want to hitch their start to his wagon, you know, okay, fine. You're just going to keep on losing more people. So anyway, enough of that.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder I think a lot of the conversions to Orthodoxy, uh, most all of that has nothing to do with the convert's image of the hierarchy, of the upper hierarchy,
Mhm.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it's just mostly, what they see at the parish level,
Yeah.
the priests and, occasionally a bishop, if they're around for something,
Mhm.
but, it's just what they perceive. At that level, I think that makes an impression on and then with good reason, um,
Mhm.
and we should thank God for that. Um, but, um, but getting back to our kind of international focus here,
Mhm.
um, this thing, it does bring out, Vladimir Putin a while back called, the West, America in particular, the empire of lies,
Yes.
and there's a lot of truth to that. Not just the stuff that's been said in the war, but this very slippery way of doing business that you could see in the negotiations with Iran. Is it open? Is it
Mhm.
closed? What exactly are we doing? Are we going to board ships? Or are
Mhm.
we not going to board ships? Um, and saying one thing, saying the strait's open, but we're embargoing the strait. We've got
Yeah.
an embargo
Yeah.
on the strait. A blockade, a blockade. It's open,
Blockade.
but we got a blockade on the strait. Um, as if logic meant nothing.
Yeah.
It's Orwellian in a way. Um, and I think that's what uh, upsets a lot of people. I see all this stuff on X and other places where people are like, I don't know what he's smoking. I don't know
Yeah.
what any of them are smoking,
Yeah.
but they need to, get off of it. And and I agree to a certain extent that I think this thing has shocked them, and it's going to shock them more because the thing that they did that really got them off course was to just go down this Iran road to begin with.
Mhm.
They shouldn't have done
Mhm.
it.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
what they're experiencing now is a kind of they can't believe that the United States of America is being defeated by these third world people.
Mhm.
It's like a much greater case of the same thing that happened with us and the Houthis. Um, they just can't process the idea that we can't just push a button and win. Uh,
Mhm.
especially these leaders like Lindsey Graham and the political leadership that you see in Washington D.C.
Mhm.
The Democrats are different. They read from a different playbook, but a lot of the Republicans are the same way. They just can't. The red, white, and blue, and the MAGA, and the whole thing. It just cannot admit of anything like anybody can stand up against us for any reason, and they're rubbing our noses in it,
Mhm.
and and that's what's got. I think, Trump and some of the other people in his, upper echelon so flustered that they're just saying anything that comes to mind and lying as hard as they can in order to avoid any appearance of defeat.
Right.
Um,
Y
they just don't
you know,
do, you know?
yeah, there there was a senator in Connecticut back in 1966. He says, "We just ought to declare victory and leave Vietnam." And, that was in '66, okay? And I just have a feeling that Trump being a businessman, a negotiator, a deal maker, a boisterous, blustery man is gonna find a way to do that. And in the meantime, let's look at what has been accomplished. Well, Israel has been largely defeated, or at the very
Mhm.
least, Israel has been knocked down several pegs.
Deeply humbled,
Um,
yes.
deeply humbled. Yeah. Um, the APAC lobby has been exposed. Um, the American body politic is now becoming way more Israel skeptical. Sometimes
Mhm.
this is just what you have to do. You have to just, it's this is in reverse. World War II, you know, Churchill was the greatest anti-Nazi fighter out there. I mean, he was just among world leaders. He won. The British won, but he was drummed out of office. And then within 10 years, Britain lost her empire. Actually, within 3 years, they lost both mandatory Palestine and India, the jewel in the crown.
And
They were just spent,
yeah.
you know. So what I'm trying to say is that a defeat, if it can be, I don't know, if there's anybody who could put lipstick on a pig and make it look attractive, it probably would be Trump. In the meantime, what have we gained? An increase in Israel skepticism. Maybe we won't even be in the Middle East anymore. Maybe our bases will be closed down there if they're not already destroyed. Well, what's wrong with that? I kind of don't see anything wrong with that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I wish we could get our bases out of Germany and Okinawa.
Oh, we might. He's working on that too.
Yeah.
He,
So, yeah,
yeah, he doesn't like NATO, and NATO increasingly doesn't like him.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Fine.
um, that seems to be, in progress. It's not flabbergasting. Flabbergasting is the first word that comes to mind. Tiring show that in the domestic situation, the Republican Senate is more or less shut him down. They just won't do anything, for him anymore. They won't even recess so he can do recess appointments.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of pressure on them to move to do stuff, but so far they haven't really done much. And so he's had to go, in this international
Mhm.
phase and was pressed that way by Israel. Um, I wonder sometimes how much is in the back of his head and how much is in the back of the Lord's head. Because you see God's hand move in mysterious ways through all of this
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
I don't think it was Trump's plan to deeply humble Israel, but
No.
evidently it was God's plan to deeply humble
Yeah.
Israel.
I mean, that's what
And
happened, you know? I mean,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
Israel to be deeply humbled, but I don't want them bombing the crap out of Lebanon, and I don't want them bombing Iran either. I mean, the Abraham Accords were a perfectly good way of working out things. I mean, Gaza could have been Palestine for all intents and purposes, a sovereign nation of 2 million Palestinians, and it has a wall around it. So, and the Israelis provided electricity and water, and let them be Palestine and let them have a port on Ashdod or Gaza City, and let them be like Hong Kong. You know, I think everybody would have been happy.
Mhm.
But no, no, the Likudniks, they're they're a different kettle of fish, as the British like to say.
Yeah, I don't see any difference really between when you have all this revisionist stuff about World War II anyway coming out, um, the parallel is obvious between chosen people and master race
Mhm,
and the activities of each of these, militaries and
mhm.
governments. And did you see uh, Polish, member of parliament stand up in the middle of the parliament with a it looks like an Israeli flag, but instead of the star in the middle, it has a swastika?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's, Israel can't live this down. I think,
No.
those people that, like, kiss you're saying it's 5 or 10 years and that's it. I don't know
Mhm.
if it has that long, but,
Yeah, he said in 2012 that Israel had 10 years, another 10 years to exist, and that would have been 2022. Well, we're in 2026 now, but yeah, I just don't see how it's sustainable. I mean, it's just, I don't know if you know this, but real estate prices in Greece and Cyprus have just skyrocketed because Israelis are buying up land in, condos and apartments like you wouldn't believe. And, that's good for the Greek economy, but,
mhm.
you know, why not stay there? I mean, the whole purpose of Israel is that it's a safe place for Jews. Well, I guess because it's not. Who knows?
Yeah, and the same thing's happening in Argentina,
Yeah.
um, with the forests and all that stuff that they were buying up down there. It's very strange. There's so many things that come and we'll end it at this. There's so many things that, where the inquiry stops at Israel. Like, if you're looking for you start out with something bad, and you keep looking at root causes, and you end up there.
Mhm.
That's what
Yeah.
that ends up being the thing that causes, anything that happens with the Middle East, um, generally, is tied to some nefarious scheme that
Well,
Israelis.
I mean, since we're there, we might as well say, Truman recognized Israel, and, he didn't really want to, but he was pushed into it. And George C. Marshall, who was a Secretary of State, previously he had been the supreme head of the United States Armed Forces during World War II,
Mhm.
begged him. He says, "Don't do it, please, please don't do it, please don't. We'll unleash a century of warfare." And I think he resigned when Truman did it. Well, so why did Truman do it? Well, little known, Margaret Truman Daniel, his daughter, wrote a biography of her son of her father, and there were two different assassination attempts against Truman via pipe bomb that was mailed to the White House, and
Mm.
this was from Jewish terrorists, and I guess he got the message, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and here we are.
Yeah. All
George
of that.
George Marshall is right. For 80 years, there's been nothing but conflict.
Nothing but conflict. Yeah.
in the
That's,
Middle East.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave
Do you
it
have
at
anything
that.
else to add, George?
No,
All
can't
right.
think of anything.
Well, all right. If you enjoyed this episode of Hegemonix, please like and subscribe, and we shall see you next time.
Ciao.